Welcome back, everybody, to Cinebums. Producer Jake tuning in here again for the final episode of 2022. Yeah, let's introduce who we got today. Starting with the man, the Misfit Pond, who he's a three-timer now. It's his third time being on. Dude, thanks for coming back.
No, thank you, dude. It's always a pleasure.
You're always so stoic. You're always wearing a nice film shirt. Today you got a Bong Joon-ho movie.
Got to represent the Kino, man.
Yeah, people love having you on though, so thank you for coming back, man.
It means a lot. No problem.
Yeah. And the newcomer, we got Eric, who's been on the Misfit Pond channel. He's got an amazing taste in film, and I've wanted to have him on for a long time, but dude, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Oh man, I'm honestly really stoked to be here. Like it after Carlos appeared the last time, I literally thought like, damn, it'd be really cool to go on the podcast and talk about some films.
Hell yeah, we made it.
So thank you.
We manifested it. Yeah, thanks for coming on. And returning back, he was on the Crimes of the Future episode, which is a reviled film in the Discord of the Misfit Pod, but
Exposition to the future.
Lucas and I love the movie. Lucas, thanks for coming back, dude.
Thanks for having me. I heard the podcast also bombed. Is that correct?
Yeah. Only you and I listened to it and promoted to it. It was just like the reception of Crimes of the Future. Which I'll say again, that movie rocks and everyone is wrong. And Carlos's review is hearsay.
I'm glad that somebody out there enjoys it.
It's funny because like Eric he's like one of the biggest Cronenberg fans I know, and he himself did not like the movie.
Yeah, I love Cronenberg, and that movie like just disappointed the hell out of me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. It's a very disconnected film in a lot of ways. Like there's not a lot to grasp onto. And that's why our podcast was us kind of being just super analytical about every decision in the film. It wasn't like an emotional, like visceral reaction to the movie, but I do really love it. I know Lucas, you were into it as well, but
yeah, it's a movie where the plot sounds more like old school Cronenberg, but the execution is very much like 2000s Cronenberg. You know, it's much more oh god, I'm blanking on the movie I was going to reference, but you know, yeah.
I know the movie. Are you talking about Cosmopolis? Yeah,
Cosmopolis. Yeah, it's a lot more Cosmopolis than it is his early stuff. Like
definitely. Yeah, and we did our top 5 Cronenberg, and Cosmopolis was I think both of our top 5. So we clearly like the more obscure, weird ass Cronenberg movies too. But I also Crash is probably my favorite, and Videodrome. So
Crash is easily my favorite.
Crash.
It's my least favorite. It's not even a favorite. I just think it's a bad movie all around.
All right, so I'll cut that out of the pod. But, did you guys? I think one of you saw this movie already, but did you guys see the trailer for Infinity Pool?
Oh, I'm super excited about that movie.
The Brandon Cronenberg movie.
Oh, I did see that. Yes.
It looks fucking scary, dude. Like it was like very dreadful and like just it looks like a nightmare fueled movie. But
I didn't even know we had another movie come out, but I absolutely loved Possessor like a lot. So just on that alone, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, it stars Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, the trailer I saw before Bones and All, and that shit looked insane. It at the very least, it's going to be unique and different, which I'm very excited for.
I'm a huge fan of Possessor as well. So like seeing him kind of ramp up to a bigger budget and just like an insanely great, that's like dream casting for a horror movie is Skarsgård and Mia Goth. So
right. Yeah.
I couldn't be more excited for that. And that comes out like early next year, I believe. So, which actually, I think we'll talk about that more later because one thing we're going to do in this podcast later is talk about our most anticipated for the next year. But the main topic I wanted to talk about today, since the year is actually wrapping up, is our favorite theater experiences of 2022, which we've never done on the Cinebums before because I think mainly when I started working on this pod was during the COVID pandemic, like right when it started. So not a lot of theatrical experiences to really discuss, you know, like maybe you could talk about seeing Tenet in 2020. But yeah, so like this is the first like full calendar year of films in a long time, in at least 3 years, to where there was like an equal amount of blockbusters, indie dramas, A24 movies, horror movies, all that good stuff. So, I mean, like, first of all, like, do you guys think this was a good year for movies overall, like, or mediocre, or bad?
I mean, I'd say it was pretty damn good.
I personally think this is like an excellent film. I thought last year was like really solid for films. But I
Mhm.
think this year honestly is better. It's not as good as 2019. That year is pretty insane. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I love
no.
this year a lot.
hmm
Yeah. Same.
Lucas,
Yeah,
are you,
same.
you
This year when you go through your list, like there's the memorable stuff from this year, and then there's just so many movies that kind of came and went. Like I'm thinking about like Kimmy.
yeah,
I love Deep Water, which is like not a good movie, but just
I'm right
lots of
there with
stuff
you.
that we got to watch on streamers that you forget about when you think about the year, and then you go back and look, and yeah, I would say it was very strong.
Absolutely. And I guess there's a lot of movies that, at least in LA, there was a lot of movies that were streaming but also had a theatrical release, which I thought was really cool because like I was able to see, I'm sure you guys were able to see it too, but like Glass Onion, which is going to be exclusively on
Oh,
Netflix
I can't wait to watch that. I'm so
very
excited.
soon. I love the movie even more, even maybe more so than the first movie personally. So I can't wait to see what your review is
Oh
about
yeah.
that one. But that's a movie that I felt was really heightened for having that group experience, because like the movie was kind of like a roller coaster ride in terms of like the narrative and everything. So like hearing people's initial reactions would just heighten my enjoyment of that movie just so much more. So that's kind of why I like this episode, because it's kind of talking about the group experience. And because the movies I picked, I don't know about you guys, they're not my favorite movies of the year, but it was the most special time I had at a theater, if that makes sense.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah, more of like a memorabilia thing, like you can just remember how you felt leaving the theater, I guess. So
Hmm.
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll kick it off first, I guess, since I brought this topic up.
Cool.
Of my favorite, I kind of broke it down by category. Um, and I do have one film. I told these guys that we could do one film that's a revival screening, meaning it's an old film playing at like a revival theater, and it still counts as technically a theatrical experience that you saw this year.
Gotcha.
Um, and I'm a nerd, so I do that all the time. But I did have one that I'll mention later. And I can't wait to see Carlos's face when I talk about it. But the first movie I'll talk about was just the most fun I had at the theater, in 2022, and not like in an intellectual way or like even sort of like an analytical, like I, it was more just the visceral experience of having just an absolute blast at the theater. And Lucas, I think you'll agree with this one, but Barbarian was a movie I saw. I believe it came out in June or July. And this year was great for horror all around. And there's plenty of, I still think that's my favorite horror movie of the year. But I didn't know shit going into this movie other than that it went really well at festivals, and there was just a strong word of mouth about it. And just from the very first frame, I was just entranced. And the way that movie escalates is just, I just think is so, it's why I love seeing horror in a crowd, just to hear that visceral sort of shock and just disgust of what's happening on screen and how insane the plot is escalating. And also that movie has a lot of humor. So there's a lighter fare to seeing that in a screening with a huge group of people that truly don't know what they're in for or what the story is going to bring out or what the movie is at all. And like, I guess it's that secretive aspect and the fact that no one really knew where the movie was going. Not to mention, I think it was executed just super well. And that movie, from a pure just fun and leaving the theater just overjoyed and having a great time with your friends and the group in general, like that to me is the most fun I had in the theater. So Yeah. I haven't revisited Barbarian since then, just because seeing the first time was just so fucking fun. So yeah, that's my first one I'll bring up.
Nice.
Awesome.
Absolutely phenomenal movie. Definitely got the loudest reaction from the audience of a movie I've seen in theaters, like at the big reveal in that film. You know, people screamed. I don't know. It's one that I don't think would necessarily hold up on like rewatches. I don't want to test it out too soon, but yeah, that was a great one.
I agree with that. That's why it's like the pure theater experience is gonna live on, and I'll probably remember for this year just because it was so heightened by the group experience and just people shrieking at the screen. So,
I
Carl? Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched Barbarian, but when it hit VOD, basically. I liked the movie, but I'm not really crazy about it. Like I think the first act is actually really good. I also really
Mhm.
dig the second act, but I pretty much don't like the third act at all. And it kind of like I mean, I would still give the movie a fresh rating. I still give it like a soft to solid 6 or something like that. But like overall, I think it had an excellent setup and like it really subverts what you expect out of the film. But then by the end of it, it just I don't know. For me, it just kind of felt really underwhelming with the approach it went in the third act. So unfortunately, I wasn't in love with it, but I could definitely see the appeal to the film though for sure.
Yeah, totally. And I know what you're saying about the third act. Like it gets pretty sloppy, and the whole movie doesn't necessarily deliver on the tense nature of the first act, but it, it was a movie I just didn't analyze because I just had so much fun with it. That's kind of why I picked it though. So Eric, did you see
That's
it in
fair enough.
theaters?
Yeah, I saw Barbarian by myself in theaters. I didn't like the whole auditorium wasn't empty. There was people there, and it was a fun um, theater experience. I really enjoy the hell out of it. I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever, which some people kind of hyped it up to be. But honestly, I'm with you, Jake. I think the movie is a fucking blast. Personally, I loved it start to finish. Although I guess I'm willing to admit that the build up is stronger than like how the film wraps up or the execution. But overall, I
Mhm.
think it's a really fun ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's accurate too, because I think the buildup was when people were most just like I was literally gritting my teeth when they're going down the hallways and stuff. So
Right? Yeah.
I think it was that uneasiness that just really amped up the first half at least. And I'm a fan of the way the movie unfolds, but I could see other people being like, okay, it just becomes kind of a stereotypical like cat and mouse monster movies, typically.
No, I
So
am too. I love the way the movie unfolds personally.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So yeah, who wants to go next? I mean, if anyone wants to just throw
I
another
mean,
one out.
shit. I'll go next. All right. So when it comes to like the best theater experiences that I've had this year, I kind of have different. I have like kind of two different criteria. There's one criteria where it's like, to me, a really great theater experience can be just when everybody shuts the hell up, and then I get to actually experience the movie and get fully immersed in it. But then, and obviously, it depends on what kind of movie it is and how the audience is reacting. That kind of plays a huge part in it as well. But then there's like this other aspect of it to where kind of like you were describing, where like the audience is just, there's this like group mentality to where like everybody's just having a blast with the movie and like they're reacting really loudly, but it's like respectfully like to the art or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be really and when it comes to that criteria, my favorite theater experience this year, it's gotta be probably like wild to say this, but Jackass Forever was like
It
such an awesome movie experience in the theater. Like
really was.
it's like
Fuck.
one of those things to where like everybody knows why they're there and everybody just has such an awesome time. And it's one of those things where you don't mind like people shouting and like, having commentary or like, or whatever, like
Yeah.
just shouting at the screen because it's literally a movie that is kind of made for that kind of reaction. So that was a whole lot of fun. I really, really had a blast with that movie. So like in that regard, that was one of my favorite theater experiences. But in terms of like actually having, well, here's another one where like the entire theater like was basically quiet, and it's because there was nobody in it at all. was when I went to go see Pearl. So like
Nice.
Pearl, I wasn't even that huge of the movie, honestly. Like I like it, but I'm not huge on it. Like I'll probably give it like I think I gave it a soft 6 or something like that. But it was really great experience because I was this huge theater in an art theater that I love, and nobody was in it except for me and my partner Jen, and we just got to experience it like in all of its glory. So that was really fun.
Nice.
But I know Eric loves Pearl to death.
Oh yeah, Pearl is like near my fucking top 10. It's like just outside my top 10.
Yeah, Pearl's great, and this kind of goes back on what I said about Barbarian, but horror crowds can kind of be notoriously annoying, just
Yeah.
talking over things. Like when I saw Smile this year, I just had like a really annoying crowd that wouldn't stop. Just I don't know, laughing at jump scares, predicting what would happen in the next sequence, just talking about literally everything out loud. But something like Pearl is more of like sort of a artful, it's a Ty West horror movie, so so that's cool that no one was there and you can kind of just listen to Mia Goth's monologue without anyone talking over it.
Yeah, because I mean, where me and Eric live, like going to see a horror movie is just like, I mean, it's like playing Russian roulette with like with every single bullet in the chamber except for one or something. Like it doesn't matter. Like you could if you go to see any horror movie, and it doesn't matter which day you go. Opening day. I mean, opening day like tends to get the worst result, like usually.
Yes.
But even if you wait, like you're bound to get people in that theater that are just gonna talk and have commentary. And it's one thing to react like appropriately to the movie, but oh my god, like most of the time people are just being so like disrespectful and very immature. Like, I mean, Eric can tell you about our experience with men in the theater.
I walked out. I literally walked out 30 minutes into it because I could not, because I was loving the movie quite a bit. So when literally everybody but Carlos, Jeremy, and Jen were ruining the movie for me, I couldn't. I just fucking left, and I was like, nope, I'll catch it another time.
Did you ever go back and watch Men?
Yeah, I did. I forgot how long I waited. I waited like half a week, but yeah, I went back and I loved it, of course.
Wow. That's another rough movie to watch with a bad crowd because it's more about the atmosphere, and it's kind of similar to Pearl. It's a quieter horror movie, and people don't have the patience. I remember I saw Hereditary, me and my ex-girlfriend, when I was in Chicago. Like it was opening night of Hereditary, and you could tell there was a lot of like teenagers that wanted to see a stereotypical sort of horror movie slasher. And there were so many people that I can hear just groaning and talking over certain things and laughing at really emotional, like Toni Collette's monologue. I remember at the dinner table, which is, for my money, one of the best scenes in any horror movie ever.
Yes,
like, people were fucking like howling and laughing.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah, and people, when the clicking sound like that.
The classic cluck.
That became like a motif, and there were people in the theater just doing that throughout the movie and like laughing their asses off. So I wanted to walk out so bad. I remember me and my girlfriend at the time were like, this fucking sucks. And I think we went to go see it again like a week later, but yeah, man, the horror, you're right. And like horror crowds can just be death. Like
people
you just
act like they just act like a bunch of like immature sixth graders. It's like crazy how you have, I mean, sometimes it is like teenagers, but a lot of the time these are like grown adults acting like fucking teenagers, and it's pretty pathetic.
That's so true too.
I'm with you.
But anyways, we should probably ask Lucas what his favorite theater experience was. Or Eric, whichever one.
Yeah, I can go. I was gonna discuss Ambulance first because
my man.
That is a movie that just got my heart rate going. Every single scene of that movie, like, I don't know, it's one of those movies where you don't have to talk about the action, you don't have to talk about like the car chases with the ambulance or the helicopters or the drone shots. It's like every dialogue choice they make in that movie is absurd. Like it's just such a treat. Like you could just dig into every second of that movie, and I had a blast doing that in theaters.
Nice. I love how you disregard all of Michael Bay's craft, and you're like, just Jake Gyllenhaal screaming at Isla Gonzalez in the ambulance.
So I should go on the record. Like Jake knows, I'll even defend the action set pieces and some of the coordination in like the later Transformers movies. Like I'm a huge Michael Bay defender. I just mean everybody knows that. Like, you don't have to stand on that for Michael Bay. You just,
I don't know. No, I agree with what you're saying. I can't advocate for the Transformers movies, but
I come off like such a clown on this podcast, but I'm just gonna lean into it. That's fine.
No, we need that. We need that because we're all serious talking about. Well, Carlos said jackass, but no, I agree. I
It's
agree.
true.
I agree
It's
with
the
ambulance
high-minded.
100%. I didn't think about that the dialogue is what, because that's kind of what puts it over the edge, because like it is so absurd and hilarious, like just the interactions within the ambulance. It's like a Sidney Lumet movie turned up to like a million, you know?
I agree. It's exactly like a Sidney Lumet movie.
Michael Bay and Lumet in the same sentence.
Oh
Honestly, that's got me really interested to see. I'm just like really curious to see what you guys are talking about now.
Well, if you haven't seen it, no, it is genuinely like, however many years into his career, it feels like Michael Bay's like hitting his stride with this. Like, he cut out so much of the like childish. Like, we're talking about how funny it is, but there's no like ball jokes or anything like that, like in the Transformers movies. Like,
Okay.
there might be a few ball jokes in there.
they're tasteful though. They're tasteful.
They're tasteful.
Got some tasteful nut jokes.
No, it is like the characters are actually really genuine in the film. Like, you actually somewhat give a shit. Like the brotherhood between Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Batiste, is that his name? They're both
Mateen,
fucking
yeah.
Okay, I butchered it bad, but
Oh no, that was good. That was better than I would have done.
Jake Gyllenhaal's legit going to be in my ballot for best actor this year. That's not even a bit. Like, he dials into the tone of that movie so much.
Yeah, no, he's insane in it. Just an all around great time, great experience.
He knew the assignment.
Carlos, I'll pay you $50 to review that on your channel. I'll put that out there.
All right.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Eric, you want to go next?
Yeah, so in keeping up with the theme of like just in general having a fucking blast in theaters, I'm gonna go with Triangle of Sadness. I went to go see this 2 times, one by myself and once with Carlos and Perry and Jeremy. And both times I had a fucking blast. Like, I don't know. I've never seen a movie where I'm just simultaneously like fucking laughing my ass off, but I legitimately felt sick the first time I watched Triangle of Sadness. So it was a really unique experience to say the least. And as far as I can tell, everybody was enjoying the film. There's just so many moments you hear the audience like just going along with what the film fucking does, which was really just a treat. Yeah, I think Triangle of Sadness, if you're into it, is a really great film, but also like a really good crowd pleaser. Like, I just loved my experience watching that.
Same,
Nice.
dude. That was an absolute blast.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
a
so
great
fun.
call. It
Yeah.
it didn't get enough buzz, I feel like. Like, I didn't hear as much discourse about it as I was expecting coming out of seeing that movie.
Damn.
I'm the only one that hasn't seen it in this group. That sucks. I should go watch.
You really should. I love that movie to death. It's so great.
Yeah, same. I love it.
Yeah, I've heard about the notorious, like, everyone starts puking at one point, and
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
That scene in general goes on for a long time, and I swear to God, it's like one of the greatest thing to ever be on the screen.
Yeah, it's like peak cinema for this year for my
Yeah.
money.
Lucas, what did you say about that movie? Did you positive or negative on it?
Oh no, I love that movie. I just it was so lauded critically that I expected it to get more traction, like, among my friends and stuff. Like, I just didn't hear much hype for that movie. That's all I said.
Oh, okay.
Because I agree about it being like a very crowd pleasing movie.
I've heard some Oscar buzz, like, specifically about the screenplay, and I don't know the actress's name, but the supporting actress in the movie, apparently, who's really integral in the third act. That's what I've heard about that.
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay.
Without revealing too much.
I do know kind of where the movie goes in the third act, so I can guess, but I'm dying to see the movie. and just form an opinion on it in general. So it is on my list. It's high up on my list, but yeah, I'll go next. I'll kind of piggyback on what Carlos alluded to about a fully silent, immersive experience at the movies. And that this might be recency bias, and also because it's my favorite film of the year, but I saw this movie last week alone on a Tuesday night at around 10 p.m. and there was barely anyone in the theaters. And the movie's After Sun, which, if you guys don't know, is the directorial debut of Charlotte Wells, who's an up-and-coming filmmaker. And this was distributed by A24, and I didn't know a lot about it going in. I knew it was a semi-autobiographical movie. But what that movie is really just a fragmented recount of her time with her father on a vacation. And the way the movie's told, like the camera work and the sound design are so, you wouldn't think it's meant for the theater because it's like a $5 million budget film, but it's like a sensory experience because like you fully feel like you're living her memories, and stuff like little gestures and conversations she has with her dad, they feel so inherently like cinematic and huge. And the fact that I saw it in such a quiet theater, like that, it's the most immersive and like emotional theater experience I had this year. So and it might be recency bias again because I saw it like a week ago, but it is, I think it's the greatest film that came out in 2022 personally. So did any of you guys happen to see After Sun? I know it's not as talked about as other stuff coming out right now, but
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm dying to see
neither.
that movie, and I was planning to go see it at the Plaza, but I didn't end up doing it because, as I've said before, it's a chore driving there, and the tickets are fucking insane, like insanely priced.
Yeah.
So
I would say, even though waiting for VOD, which I imagine won't be super long, I just want more people to watch it because I think it's one of the movies of this year I could truly say could only be made as a film, if that makes sense, just because everything is working. Carlos and I have talked about like where everything's working in harmony, like the music, the acting, the filmmaking, everything is just working in such harmony where like that movie what felt beyond film to me. It felt like an actual like piece of someone's memory and their psyche. So yeah,
It got me much more excited to see it because like I really didn't have like just from the trailer, like I wasn't that like, I mean, I wanted to see it, but like I wasn't that like hype about it. The only thing that got me kind of hype was like all the really great reviews it's been getting. But the way you describe the film makes it sound like an experience, and I really want to check it out even more now. So I'm gonna put that like as a high priority for sure.
yeah, our friend Mike like champions that movie to an insane degree. He also says it's like one of the he says it is the best film of the year for him. So that's really cool.
Mike and I were talking about it for like hours after the movie. Like we were just talking about like our interpretations on it and just how it affected us. So I think it inspire, if more people would see it, it would inspire a lot of discussion because it doesn't spoon feed anything. It's really just your interpretation of this girl's experiences as she comes of age on vacation. So, and it's hard to sell a movie like that because it's literally there's no plot in the film other than that it's a very, very memorable part of this filmmaker's life. So guys, just everyone go see After Sun. That's my whole point of this, I guess. But yeah, Carlos, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll go with a more obvious one, which is one of the more recent films I saw in theaters, which is Holy Spider.
Nice.
I mean, that film on its own is absolutely incredible, but it was really cool to see it, first of all, like in a pretty nice theater with a really big screen, and it was just a big like auditorium with hardly anybody in it, and the people that were in it were very like quiet, and they were very like obviously like respectful to the film, which was great. And it was just like everything was on point. Like the sound was really loud and on point there. The screen was huge and everybody was quiet, and it made for a very immersive experience. And the fact that it's an incredible film that I consider to be, it's the only film that I've given this year a perfect score of a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10. I I mean, on every phase of filmmaking, it's absolutely incredible. I don't really want to talk too much about it in terms of plot details because I do feel like this is a film that is, I mean, almost like most films, but this film especially, I think is better experienced, like not knowing too much about it. But all I'm gonna say is that like it's a film from Iran technically because he didn't make it in Iran for obvious reasons when you see the film. But the filmmaker is from Iran, and I mean I've only seen one film from him called Border previously, and I love that film. But Ali Abbasi, the filmmaker, I mean he created something that is so visceral, so important, and just like masterfully made. Like the opening, the first like 10 minutes or so of the film that leads to like the opening title card is just like
Incredible.
yes, it's awe-inducing. Like you watch it and like it reminded me what 10 out of 10 filmmaking looks like immediately. I was like, this is what it feels like again to like feel like I'm watching something that is just so engrossing and masterfully crafted. It was, and then I thought to myself, well, shit, if it keeps this up the whole movie, I think we got a real fucking banger on our hands. And yeah, it does. It to me, it does not let the foot off the gas. It's incredible, like through and through. So I
Yeah.
cannot. Yeah,
The movie starts out so strong and it just keeps going.
I can't recommend that film enough. I mean, I feel like it's not getting talked about as much as it should. Some people don't like it that much. Honestly, I don't see how anybody can come out of this movie and talk about how bad it is because like that's kind of shocking to me. Because everything about it to me is just so fucking effective. So yeah, I definitely implore people to go watch this movie. And I mean if you can in the theater, because I do think that this would be I think this is a film that is better experience in the theater, but you know, I understand like not everybody's gonna get access to that. It's probably gonna get a very like limited release. So if you can though, please go see it. It's incredible.
Yeah, we were talking about this movie off mic a little bit, and it's playing near me, so I'm very intrigued to go see it before it leaves theaters. Because I mean, the way you described it, it seems like it's the definition of a heightened version of seeing a movie on the big screen with better sound design and better visuals and all that stuff. And
it's
Lucas,
got an excellent score too, by the way. I love the score to the film.
Me too. It's so great.
Lucas, have you heard of that movie too?
I was just gonna say I'm very jealous that you have been able to see it in theaters. I have not been able to find this movie. I've been dying to watch it. It sounds incredible.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you're not alone. A lot of people don't have access to, I mean, almost everybody I know can't watch this movie unless like you're like Jake and live in LA or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like most people can't watch this movie. For some reason, luckily it came to an art theater here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
We were able to see it, but that was like sheer luck. Like, so
It somehow
awesome
got to
that
me
it
and
did.
Carlos.
yeah.
Hopefully it gets a wider distribution at some point.
I mean, from my friends in Discord, they said that like it's hitting their theater in January. So it's definitely possible that it'll come near you in January.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Me too. I promise I will see it in theaters because like it feels like it needs to be. It's a necessity, and why not? You know, it will always be better to see that than on my shitty TV. So, Lucas.
I'm going to go with 3,000 Years of Longing next.
Oh,
interesting.
The newest.
Yeah, interesting.
So a little divisive as a movie. I'm not here to really defend, you know, everything that the movie is saying or every bit that the movie goes for, but just as like a pure experience, like I really got wrapped up in this. And not similar as a movie, obviously, to Barbarian, but I think similar in that there were things about it that I didn't question because I was experiencing it on a big screen and because I was so wrapped up in the atmosphere and the tone and the sound of it that maybe at home would have stood out to me more, you know, would have rubbed up against me more. But seeing it in theaters, like I just love this movie. I thought it was gorgeous and magical in a way that a lot of stuff with bigger budgets has not really achieved for me. So yeah.
I agree 100%. I mean, I'm a big supporter of that movie. I know it was very, very divisive amongst like even George Miller fans, you know, because coming off of Mad Max Fury Road, it's hard to sort of top that experience. But for how earnest the movie is and how I guess creative like the scope of it is and how big it feels. I agree that I kind of overlooked some objectively, objective flaws that the movie might have story wise. So, and the movie certainly is not for everybody, but I've talked to a lot of people that are big defenders of it, and I agree is like visually just so gorgeous to see on big screen.
It's a really interesting pick. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Me neither.
Can I hear some pushback? I'm curious.
No, I've never seen.
I've never seen it.
I didn't bother to see it because everybody that I know says it's like a mid movie. So I just never. I didn't go out to see it, unfortunately. But I mean,
that's a fair thing. But I think what gets overlooked by that is like it's not mid as like a watching experience. Even if there's things about it that you won't work for you, like I think we kind of take for granted just how incredible like the art direction always is on George Miller movies. Not that anyone did with Fury Road, of course.
Yeah.
I also think George Miller's not. I think with certain film fans, he's like seen as one of the best to do it right now. But I think a lot of people kind of overlook him because he's been away for so long, and he started making like fucking Happy Feet and Babe. But the fact that he's come back with these, I love Mad Max Fury Road's like probably my favorite movie of the last decade. So I'm just a massive fan. So I love
that movie to death too.
I was a huge supporter, but I would say like Eric and Carlos, like I think it's worth watching if it's like streamable somewhere. Just I think it's a movie that's not objectively. I think there's things wrong with it, like what Luke was saying, but for a cinematic experience, I think it's pretty special.
I mean, I'll take your recommendation, man. I mean, I don't know when I'll be able to see it, but I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Eric, you're up.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, Blaire. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna you guys can call me Eric, just for this like public episode thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, I fumbled that completely.
No worries. I should have communicated that to everybody. But for this next one, I'm gonna go with a movie that definitely didn't come out this year. I was fortunate enough to go see La Strada with Perry this year in a theater, the Landmark Theater in Atlanta. And I first saw La Strada was one of the very first movies I saw this year, and I love that movie so much it became in my top 10 like immediately. And then one day I just saw that it was coming to Atlanta, and I was like so excited, like I wouldn't have missed it for the world. And it was a really special experience. Like it was a decently packed theater, and it's just so cool that everybody in that room like either has a history with this like really important and amazing movie, or they're about to experience it for the first time. It's honestly probably one of my favorite theater experiences like I've ever had, just because how important that movie is to me now. And obviously going with a good friend like Perry, I had a phenomenal time. Like I just enjoy the movie start to finish, and it was just a treat to see in theaters. I absolutely loved it.
Nice. I love that film to death too. That's probably my favorite Fellini I've seen. So I'm jealous you got to see it on the big screen. I hope it plays again somewhere.
Yeah, even though I'm not, even though I love La Dolce Vita, I wouldn't be like as excited to watch that in theaters as I was for La Strada. Same thing with 8.5, but I'm not, I don't love 8.5 like everybody else does.
Do you like Knights of Cabiria?
Oh, I really want to watch that, but I haven't seen it yet.
Because I believe it stars the same actress of La Strada. Yeah, and she's great in both those films. So,
her performance is one of my favorite performances I've ever seen in La Strada. Like her face communicates so much; it's insane. Like I love it.
Yeah, good thing you have the avatar on right now because you can kind of see.
Oh
her.
yeah.
Very topical. I just it's true though. She's so good in it.
Absolutely. I still haven't seen La Strada yet. I really got to get on that.
You should steal the disc from Perry somehow, or he's got every Fellini movie at his disposal. But
true.
That's a great film. I'll piggyback off that one actually, and I'll talk about another revival screening I went to this year that's not as lovely and pleasant as La Strada. Um, and I kind of teased this earlier, but so I was able to see the movie Solo or
Oh my
100
god.
120 Days of
Holy
Sodom
shit.
by
I'm jealous.
Pier Pasolini. Um, and obviously there's a major lore. There's a lot of lore for this movie. Like people, film fans, even I'm sure philosophy professors have preached about this movie for so long. And I was lucky. I saw it with three other friends who had also never seen Solo, and we were like, fuck it, let's watch it for the first time at the theater. Packed house, with generally people around our age, like a lot of dudes. For some reason, we're watching Solo. But you know, all I'll say is I think the grotesque nature and the content of the film has overtaken a lot of what I think the artistry has to offer in that movie. Um, and I know I'm sure you guys have issues with the movie. I think we've even talked about that you're not a huge Solo fan. And I more appreciate it for being a product of something of fascism, I guess. The late fascism arts sort of thing. And I will say the shit scene and the sex scenes and all the things people were saying still hold up, and they deeply affected a lot of people in the crowd. Like people were wincing and people were putting their hands in front of their face and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, the movie kind of speaks for itself. Like, if you saw that in the big screen, it would really heighten the aspects that really have disturbed people for the past, whatever half century it's been out. But I don't say I love the film, but I love the fact that I saw it in a big crowd with three of my buddies who also really enjoyed the experience. And I think there's a lot of artistic stuff about the way that film was made and how daring it is and how subversive it is. So I don't know. Do you guys
Jake,
hate
Jake, you have experienced like a bucket list thing for me. Like I'm not even joking. Like seeing Solo in the big screen is like a bucket list thing for me.
really?
I really I love that movie. I'm not even gonna be be coy around that. I really love that movie. It's not perfect or anything, but
No.
I'm pretty much with you. I think there's a lot of artistic merit to it that go beyond just the grotesque nature of it. Because honestly, I've seen like worse things, but it's still like
Same.
effective, and I really appreciate it. And I know that's not everybody feels that same way. Of course, I see the
Sure.
criticisms. I just personally, I really like it.
It's literally one of the top most divisive films ever made. So
Absolutely.
I wasn't going there thinking everyone was gonna leave all like hunky dory and praising the film, but like you said though, like I think there's artistic merit to it, and I think Carlos is shaking his head, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the movie, but I mean, I don't know. There's merit to it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, the movie is completely without merit. Really, my biggest issue with the movie is just I just felt like it was one dimensional for the most part. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
understand that like not everybody feels that way. But there's tons of people that get a lot out of it. But I don't know. It just got to the point where it was for me like it got to a point where I was surprisingly kind of bored by it. Like after a while, because it was just kind of like, okay, I'm just kind of waiting for the next like sick thing to happen over and over again for the whole movie, and like. The point that I got like in the first like 20 minutes is kind of the same point you get throughout the movie. So I was kind of like, I got to the point where I was just kind of bored with it. And then the final like 10 minutes come, and then I found that more interesting. But like in terms of a technical standpoint, I think like in terms of like the way it's shot, I think the framing like is very beautiful in like a lot of different ways. There's a lot of really like stunning shots of the film, despite how fucking like disgusting it is. But like overall, like there's merit to it. It's just it wasn't for me. It's weird because it's almost the same reason why I don't like Crash very much. for like the same reason. I just feel like obviously Crash isn't nearly as fucking grotesque, but I just feel like the same kind of thing. And like it's like I feel like I got this. I kind of got the point like within the first 15 minutes, and I feel like throughout the movie it's kind of just kind of doing the similar thing. It's kind of repetitive about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, but again, even for both films, I don't think it's without merit. There's some people that are like very hyperbolic and like, oh, that movie is no value at all. I'm not in that camp. I can see why there is value here and there.
Yeah. Right.
That's
And
valid.
no, I agree with what you're saying as well, and Lucas, that's your favorite film, right?
I've never seen Solo, and I'm not into like that much of the extremity kind of stuff, although there is a
Yeah.
notable exception from this year. But I just don't have
Ooh.
I don't have the stomach for like watching a lot of that kind of stuff usually. I don't know. I know that's a closed-minded opinion, but it gets to me in a way that I just don't really need.
No, I completely
That's
understand
fair.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, does anyone want to do the Gaspar Noé impression for the Solo?
I can't do it. I'd butcher it.
One of my very favorite movies ever.
No joke. I kind of want the Criterion just so I could hold it up and do the
I don't have the criteria.
Oh, I own the Criterion. I love it. But I don't have a webcam, so we're fucked.
Fuck. Damn it. It's okay. All right, Carlos, you're up next.
Oh shit. All right. So I'm probably gonna go with surprisingly, I'm gonna go with Bardo because Bardo is a film that like I'm glad I was able to actually watch on the big screen because it's kind of a shame that the film is going to be viewed by most people on Netflix because the film is like, in terms of like from a visual standpoint, it's very now. Not only do I think it's very like bizarre and out there in terms of content and everything, so just like for that reason, I think it would be cool to see it on a big screen. But like a lot of it is very like visionary in terms of like how things are shot and like the imagery that it offers. It's just I think it's a great film for people to actually watch on the big screen. And luckily I was able to do that. And there wasn't that many people in the theater. And yeah, there was like a few people in there that were kind of annoying, but I think it's just because of the fact that I don't think they necessarily knew what they were in for with the movie. Because it's, I think they saw like, Birdman and like The Revenant before and they thought, okay, I like those movies, so let me watch this one, but it's nothing like those movies at all. Not only is it longer than both those movies, but it's just, again, this is a film that you could tell a lot like a film like Fellini's 8.5. It's very like super personal, very like it explores a lot in like his personal life. It's a lot about identity and artistry. It's political in a lot of ways, but it's very uncompromising with its vision and its narrative approach. Like the whole film feels like this one giant like stream of consciousness with events that don't necessarily connect from one to the other. And it's a very long experience with that kind of uncompromising vision and structure. So I think for plenty of people, I just think they're going to be very frustrated after the first hour and a half of it, and they're going to realize they have a whole other hour and a half almost to go. And so like for that reason I can see why some people would kind of be frustrated with it, but like I'm glad that I got the opportunity to see something like that on the big screen rather than at home. So like I don't know, at this point I don't think it's playing in theaters anywhere for anybody.
I don't
but
think
like
so. Yeah,
but like if you have access to this film when it hits streaming services, watch it obviously on the biggest screen you have, like in your house or something, because I do think that like visually it offers a lot. So
nice.
but yeah, I can't wait for everybody else to see it though, because I saw it really early. I saw it like back in November. So
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm excited to see that as well. And I admittedly am not the biggest fan of Inarritu's work, but
damn,
one thing I will
I love that guy, man.
I
Me
know.
too. I love him to
I've
death.
caught a lot of shit for shit talking The Revenant. Just I'm not. It's not. It's not my
I'm not
type.
saying a word.
It's not my type of film. I'll just say that. But what I will say is I want to see Bardo because Inarritu is visually just such a stunning visionary in that regard. So, seeing that on the big screen will be definitely a treat for the eyes, at least. But maybe
Yeah, I mean,
I'll plug
like
my
I said,
ears.
this might be this one you might actually like. Like if you're not a big fan of his, this is nothing like anything he's made before. So in that regard,
Okay,
I think there's a good chance you'll actually like it in that
for
regard.
sure, for sure. And I don't want to cause trouble. I know people worship Alejandro, but
I love that guy, man.
not my bag. And I am glad though he's gotten success because he works fucking hard. He probably almost killed half his crew on the Revenant. So you know, but yeah, I can't wait to see it. Lucas,
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Decision to Leave, strictly because every movie on my list can't just be like an action blockbuster
a,
or a
f-
fantasy movie.
a farce. They all can't be farces, you know.
Um, no, but Decision to Leave was an incredible watch, and it definitely takes the cake for me in terms of like a movie I watched this year where I had no idea where it's going. You know, like one thing you could say about Barbarian is it's going somewhere bad, but Decision to Leave really takes a lot of right turns that I did not expect throughout.
Yeah,
It's beautiful to look at, like it's very funny, it's extremely sad. I don't know, I just loved it. It was I don't know, I guess it really is kind of a blockbuster in a way, but I don't
yeah.
know.
For
It
Korean
felt
cinema, it is. Yeah,
yeah, it just I guess because it's Korean cinema, it felt very distinct from the other like big set piece tentpole kind of movies I saw this year.
yeah. Beat out Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness for you.
Just barely. And the Christian Bale Thor movie or whatever.
Oof.
I know what you're saying though, because the scope of Decision to Leave feels just massive and it spans a lot of time. And like you can't see a lot of filmmakers who make sort of a Hitchcockian love story, a comedic love story, sort of in the vein of a film noir, at that maximum height of filmmaking. So
That's
I
that's the thing. It's been said a million times, but like just the fact that they're able to pull off making that movie that's that tense and that thrilling, like also genuinely be a romantic comedy. Like it's just incredible what Park Chan-wook is able to do with that.
I agree. I think he's one of the best filmmakers in general working today. I think he's one of the best. And I know
I'm with
Eric,
you. I
Eric,
love
you love the
Decision to
movie
Leave.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it a little before we started recording, but I think that's an excellent movie. And the responses to the film were like a little mixed, so I was kind of worried, especially because I didn't find the premise or the synopsis to be like so it's not as much of a hook as his other movies, which he Park Chan-wook like definitely has a lot of hooks to his movies. But this one, it just still just showed me so much excellent filmmaking, and I really love the writing and the characters to it, which I know a lot of people don't necessarily connect with, which I found really surprising personally.
Me too.
Yeah, I didn't
Me too.
connect with it very much, unfortunately. I mean, again, I love I mean, the style is really interesting. Park Chan-wook is a madman when it comes to like presentation. Like, it's
Shot
crazy
composition. Yeah.
because I thought the movie was going to be like more tame and like content wise, it's tame, but that style is still just like uncompromising as hell. Like, Park Chan-wook just goes all the way with it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent movie. I don't know. I think again, as much as I love the style and everything, I think it's a very energetic and fast paced movie kind of. So there's like a lot of information that kind of goes quickly, and
Yeah.
it made it to where like it was hard for me to feel connected to the situation and the characters throughout the experience, because there's a lot of times where I was kind of like out of the loop and I didn't quite grasp like everything that was happening. But I maybe on rewatch like that could fix that. So
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense though. It is one of those movies that's so frantic to like get where it's going that you sometimes don't stop and like assess where you're at, you know?
yeah, that's exactly what was kind of happening to me.
For sure. I feel like deliberately he made the detective like plotting very confusing just because he's playing with a lot of tropes of like, you know, hard-boiled detective stuff and noirs, Hitchcock stuff. So, but yeah, to me, it's like the technical experience of that movie that I just fucking love, and the romance, of course, and
Absolutely.
it promotes a lot of rewatch because there's so many layers to each section of that movie. Because there is distinct, you know, acts in the movie that I always love in Park Chan Wook. Like I don't know if you guys have seen The Handmaiden, but that movie,
dude,
masterpiece.
that's my favorite Park Chan Wook. But the way that
Me
movie
too.
Me too.
is structured is just absolutely brilliant. So
Brilliant. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm with you.
I can't say enough good things about Park Chan Wook. He's like one of my favorite filmmakers. So. Have you guys seen the Vengeance trilogy? Because I just watched Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance for the first time this year, and that movie is fucking crazy.
I haven't seen any of them yet, dude.
I haven't either.
Well, I've seen Old Boy, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah,
that's the third film in the. I don't know the order, but
I think it's the second one on.
Oh yeah. It's Sympathy, Old Boy, and then Lady Vengeance. So
yeah.
So yeah, I he's just the best. I can't wait for him to make another movie, honestly.
Same here.
Eric, go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna go with one that it's almost debatable whether it's came out this year or not, because the first time I saw this movie was last year, like early last year. I saw it on my phone. It was Lux Eterna. But then this year, I had the privilege to see it in theaters. And honestly, I was a little nervous. Like, not a lot of movies I'm like nervous to see in theaters, but I was like, holy shit, seeing Lux Eterna and this big ass theater is going to be fucking insane. And it was an absolute assault on my senses. And I love it for it. It was incredible. Just for some context, I think Lux Eterna is like, I think it's one of Gaspar Noé's like best works. I love that movie just as much as I love Enter the Void. Like I can't say enough amazing things about Lux Eterna. I think it's incredible. And it's just so fucking daring. And I love the fact that it even had a theatrical run. I fucking incredible experience.
Eric, is that the one? It's like an hour-long film about witches. Am I wrong?
It's actually about like a production hell of this film where we watch like this one particular behind the scenes scene unfolding, and what happens in the scene is like they're burning it's a scene of like burning witches, but it's more so actually about Charlotte Gainsbourg and the other co-actress, like their frustration and like absolute insanity that happens behind the scenes. It's really stressful, but it's stressful in a way that's different from Irreversible or Climax. Like it's his most tame film, but it's still so stressing. Like I love it.
Yeah, it's basically a super chaotic and brutally honest film about filmmaking in a way.
Wow, I'm sad I missed that in theaters because I love Gaspar Noé, and I was gonna shout out Vortex after you were talking because that's one of the most profound movie theater experiences I had this year too. But I'm dying to see that now. Hopefully it's streaming.
Oh, it's streaming on Shudder if you have Shudder.
Oh yeah, I do have Shudder. Perfect.
I did see Vortex with Carlos, and that was also the experience was because there was a guy kicking my seat throughout the whole film.
Too.
But
what the fuck? In Vortex?
Me too.
Yeah.
That was the only reason why I didn't bring that one up. Is like the best theater experience because there was fuckers kicking. They were kicked. There's a whole row behind our group. It was me, Jeremy, Perry, Jen, and Eric. We all went to go see it, and the entire group sat behind. And I swear to God, that entire group was kicking all of our seats. All of them.
Fuck.
I have no fucking idea.
Of that movie of all movies, that's just so
annoying.
Bizarre.
I was getting really upset to say the least.
I would, and that movie's extremely quiet too, and like you're like kind of, it takes you over. So yeah, that sucks. Sorry.
Yeah, it was distracting.
It's still a great film. So
yeah,
Vortex is amazing. Yeah. I'm gonna shift to animation now. Maybe not the animation that people would expect me to talk about, but I had the privilege to see the film, the much anticipated film, Mad God, directed by Phil Tippett.
Cool.
And this movie, like what I was saying about After Sun, where it goes beyond cinema, this truly felt like another world had been accessed in some way, you know? Because the whole movie is just a descent into hell, essentially. I couldn't even tell you the plot of this film. I don't remember it too well. But seeing 30, 40 plus years of stop motion animation come to life on the big screen, like the amount of sheer work put into that movie is outstanding. And for those of you that don't know Phil Tippett, is he did VFX with he did VFX on the Star Wars films back in the day. And then with Paul Verhoeven, he did it on RoboCop and Starship Troopers and stuff like that. So he's a legend in the industry, and he had this passion project called Mad God that he was I believe he was fully financing it and doing it like independently. So to see that come out, and I think he's like 80 years old now. So to see him come out with the movie, and for it to be that good and that it is viscerally disgusting and gory and insane. And it's stop motion animation where I'm usually used to it being more pleasant. Like, you know, something from Laika or like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which I love this year. But that movie was the most unpleasant experience I had at the cinema all year. But it's so like the craft was undeniable. And I actually saw it. I have two friends who actually, they work on they're animators for Rick and Morty. So
cool.
I drag them to it because I'm like, guys, you're like, you know more about animation than anyone I know. And I wanted to see it with them and pick their brains afterwards. And we ended up having like a 2-hour discussion, like, and we got food and talked about it. So it was like that whole experience that was like probably I would say like top 1 or 2 favorite experiences I had about just going to the movie theater and be like, that's art. And that made me feel bad, you know? So have you guys seen Mad God? I know it's streaming on Shudder, I think, or something.
I have not seen it. I've heard a lot about it, but I have not seen it yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, both of these last two are on my Shudder list.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think even on streaming it will be extremely effective and you'll have a great time. So I would highly recommend it. And it was the best. So
it's one of my must-sees before the year ends. I'm definitely gonna watch it before I make or finalize my 2022 list. So yeah.
That's good. You know, it kind of pairs a little bit well with Salo and in a weird way where I loved it, but it made me feel just bad about the world, you know? So and I think art can make you feel that way a lot, and that's good, I guess.
Oh, so, I agree. Yeah.
So Carlos.
All right. Let me see here. I think I'm kind of running low on this, but let's see. I think if I had to pick another one, it would more than likely be honestly, probably The Northman. Because I expected a really bad audience for The Northman. I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, opening day, watching anything that's even like horror-esque in any way is, going to be a bad time no matter what. And it's Robert Eggers. He can be very weird and bizarre with his approach to like story and filmmaking. So I was like, this sounds like it's going to be a bad audience, but I had to see it. Like I had to see that movie day one. I was not going to wait any longer than that. So I watched it, and there was quite a bit of people in the theater, and luckily everybody was pretty chill and they were respectful towards it. And it was a great time. Like I have no complaints with my theater experience at all. And I was pretty grateful that I was able to see that film on day one and actually come out of it with a really awesome theater experience. And it's a film that, it's a film that you definitely would want to watch on the big screen when you can. And I'm glad I was able to do that. It's a film that I've been really wanting to rewatch personally. I've only saw it that one time in theaters, and that was it. So I mean, it's a film. I don't even know. I don't even own the Blu-ray yet, which is blasphemous. So I need to get
Blasphemy.
that. Yeah. But the film's incredible. The film is like, it's visually striking. Again, like Robert Eggers, it's unforgiving with like some of its bizarre content, but also violent content that it offers. Um, Again, like there's some shots in the movie that I just think are just visually stunning shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the film all around, and overall, like I was surprised that my theater experience for that was very, very pleasant.
Love to hear that.
Absolutely.
Are we
Yeah, that
North
was
pro Northman here?
I love the Northman. It's easily in my top five. I'm like one of the biggest Lighthouse fans you'll ever meet, or Eggers in general, honestly.
Yeah. Lucas, you love it too, right?
oh incredible, and easily one of the most visceral like movie theater experiences of the year too. Just completely encapsulating.
I remember seeing that movie at like the very end. Spoiler alert: the volcano sequence.
Oh man.
Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
The
So
crowd,
good.
the crowd audibly like clapped and like breathed a sigh of relief when it ended, because it was like I think Eggers' best, final like 10 minutes of any film he's ever done, of just heightening the dramatic and stakes of everything that he's been building up to. I think it just left the theater just so elated. So I fucking loved that. Lucas, I was gonna bring up that we saw The Lighthouse together. I would think when it came out, like close to when it came out, and
Yeah, did we see that at the Music Box?
I thought we saw it at like a random AMC, like in Chicago.
Yeah,
Just
it's probably more accurate.
just a
That's probably
random
more
S
accurate.
AMC. I remember though, like it wasn't an annoying experience, but I think there were like teenagers behind us that were like drinking or something. I remember
Yeah,
it was just kind of like a
um,
weird vibe, even though I love that movie to death, like Eric was talking about. But I remember the initial screening was kind of whack. I don't know if you remember
yeah.
that.
No, yeah, it's exactly like we've been saying about a lot of these movies where people show up expecting one thing and then when they don't
Mhm.
get it, they just get kind of antsy. And The Lighthouse, like, I think a lot of people went to see that Willem Dafoe. It's like this horror movie, whatever, and then it's just, Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe screaming at each other. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely remember the crowd being antsy at that initial
Yeah,
screening that we
yeah,
had though.
right. And The Witch was the same thing. Like I remember seeing that all the way back when I was like in high school.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and it
Don't bring up
was
the witch, bro. That shit. I'm traumatized with the witch, dog. I
Oh,
literally I've never physically fought anybody in my life. I almost got into like an actual physical altercation with people in the fucking witch theater, dude. That
I
was one of the that is by far still I think the worst theater experience I've ever had ever.
shit, man.
Damn.
And
I was gonna, I was
it's
gonna say the
fucked
same
up.
thing. I was gonna say the same thing. It was just
Really?
like it was people that were antsy and kind of laughing at everything. So it just tainted the whole experience.
My
But
God, dude. Like it's fucked up because like I wanted to see that movie day one and I did it because I was like, that's gonna be a disaster. So I waited like 2 weeks, went on a Tuesday, like at fucking like 1 p.m. or something, and still couldn't escape it. Like I got there and there was actually nobody in there for like the first 15 minutes of the movie, and I was like, hell yeah, we got this shit. This is great. And then like three grown ass adults come in
oh no,
already. I could hear them coming to the door and they were already being loud as they were walking to their seat. And I was like, oh my God, here we go.
you
And they
could.
sat down and
Sorry, I
like
was gonna say you could always tell when someone's gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
Like
you can
they're
tell immediately as they walk in the door who's going to be a jackass and who's not.
yeah.
And like they were doing their bullshit and like they sat down and they were just being so fucking obnoxious. They were like immediately like commentating on everything that was happening, like laughing at everything and
Yeah.
like being and they sat right in front of us too. So like it was just like a nightmare. And then,
Fuck.
I asked them politely to be quiet, like in the most polite way possible. It's like, hey, is it possible if you like, keep your voices down and try to concentrate on the movie? And they just turned to each other and they both laughed. They all laughed really
Uh
loud. And
That's
they just
fucked.
kept
fuck,
yeah,
dude. I would have left at that point. I
yeah,
can't believe you stayed.
I really wanted to fucking watch the movie, and I was just pissed. Like I was irate. I've never been that pissed off at a movie before, like in a theater, because I
yeah,
waited
that's aggravating.
deliberately. Like
the
I
worst.
deliberately, I delayed like watching this movie to avoid people like this, and then that happened. So like I was so infuriated, and then I just snapped. I just like yelled at the top of my lungs. I was like, "Oh my fucking god, is it so hard to just shut the fuck up while you're watching a movie?" And
Oh
then they
my
all just
God.
fucking yeah, and they all just started going in on my ass, and they started like
Damn.
fucking like yelling, and it was like a shouting match. I was seeing red for like 5 minutes. I don't even remember everything that I said, but like
You blacked
we were
out.
kind of blacked out. Yeah, I was just like so fucking
That's
mad,
amazing.
and we were going back and forth on each other, just like fucking yelling at each other. But
Oh man.
I was telling them like the obvious shit, like when you pay a ticket for a movie theater, that doesn't give you the validation to just be an asshole and to scream out comment. I don't pay a
Yeah.
ticket to hear your commentary. Is like what
Yeah.
I was trying to tell them. As like
Oh,
it's about being
absolutely.
respectful. And and it's funny because like what I said one thing, and I kind of got them to see exactly like why they were being jackasses. I was like, we waited like a very long time to watch this movie. Like, this is a film that I've been like anticipating for such a long time. Y'all, it may not be like that. For y'all just probably walked into a random movie that you saw like on an ad on Facebook and you just came here.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, for me, like, this is a very like, I was looking forward to this very long time. And you guys come in here and you guys act like you own the freaking place and just are not respectful. And da da da. And then they basically like after that, she was like, all right then, or whatever. And then they literally just sat down and they were completely silent for the rest of the movie.
Wow, you did it though.
Yeah, I
You
did
got
it.
them.
I guess what I said actually kind of like clicked in their adult because these are adults. They're not
Like, oh,
teenagers.
he's right, baby.
Yeah, which was surprising because you don't ever see that. So like they actually were like, damn, I guess he's right. They didn't say that, but like they just sat down after that and they did not say a peep. I mean, they were completely silent for the rest of the movie. There was three of them. One friend on the right, she got up and like left, but the other two stayed. And
Ooh.
then the other one she came back like 30 minutes later. So I don't know if she was trying to make a stance or something, but it didn't work.
She's like, I
So
need to cool off. I'm fuming.
yeah. So she came back and then they were all very quiet and the rest like for the rest of the movie, there was still like a whole hour or so left of the movie. And I got what I wanted. I got to watch the movie in silence, even though it was kind of awkward. But afterwards, as we were walking and the movie was over, like they actually apologized and said they were sorry or whatever.
Wow.
And they said that they got like that they enjoyed the movie and everything. And then I just left. But sorry, man, I didn't mean to go on a rant. But when
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
brought up the
say
witch, you brought up the
I
witch, and I just got triggered.
I unlocked a really deep memory in Carlos's like psyche there.
Oh my god, that was oh,
I
that
just
shit lives
picture
rent free in my head, dude.
I just picture you screaming at people and you could see like Black Phillip in the background on the screen. It's like,
It really was like that, man. It was. I've never been that heated before. Again, I never fought anybody, but I thought I was gonna have to fight somebody because it was getting very. It was getting very fucking like it was getting heated, man.
contentious, yeah, dude.
Yeah, but anyway.
Wow. Wow, we were talking about positive movie experiences and we veered. No, I love it though. That was great.
Yeah, man. Where I live, it just sucks. You can ask Eric. It's just
it's really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it gets so out of hand like it did for men, I just can't take it.
For
Like
men.
I walk out. Yeah, for men.
This is funny movies that are like these really introspective horror movies that people are like,
yeah.
God damn. Lucas, do you have a story, Lucas?
Oh, sorry.
I honestly was gonna say that a lot of these movies you guys are like I saw The Witch in an empty theater. It was great. Like I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good theater experiences, and I don't have any memorable like bad ones like that. I'm pretty non-confrontational. I've definitely done the thing where you just get up and walk out before several times in my life.
Do you remember Starship Troopers?
No, I don't. I don't remember seeing that.
I'll tell. We were really drunk. I'll tell this story really quickly. We went to a revival screening of Starship Troopers with Paul Verhoeven's film, and the movie's great. We had a great time, but there was like two dudes in front of us who were like literally talking at it's a loud movie. Like Starship Troopers is loud and it's hard to talk over, but these two guys in front of us managed to talk over it the whole time. And our friend Mario, who is absolutely sauced, we were like really drunk for some reason at this movie. Like about an hour in, he kind of leaned in. He's like, would it be possible if you guys like shut up for like a second? And they literally turned around and like smiling, like the most like conniving grin on their face. They're like, we'll try. And I was so drunk, I thought it was hilarious, but it was like, should we leave? Like that was like the worst response I've ever seen.
Damn.
And like it ruined the movie was fun, but like it was like, man, it kind of ruined the whole experience.
Damn.
But yeah,
Damn.
I can't believe I just don't even remember that. That's bad.
really, I think you were on the other end of the row we were in, so maybe you didn't see the exchange. I don't know, but
Yeah, that's possible.
or you were just like so engrossed by Paul Verhoeven's movie. I don't know.
I just
Anyway.
remember, yeah.
Okay, do you mind if I say like a little weird story about a Robert Eggers experience?
Yeah, Lucas, did you cut out? I think we lost Lucas.
Oh no, I
Oh.
thought he was done. Sorry.
We lost Luca Guadagnino.
Oh, did I cut out? I'm so sorry about that.
I thought you were about to tell a story and then you cut out. Yeah.
That's hilarious. No, I think I was literally just gonna say that I like Starship Troopers.
based king.
We need that. All right, sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
No, I'll make this quick. This wasn't a bad experience for Robert Eggers. It was just a weird one. It almost feels like surreal because like I didn't see The Lighthouse with Carlos and Perry. This was before I moved to the West Coast. I was visiting Oregon at the time, and me and my ex-partner, we drove to Reno for like a little vacation, but I was like really upset that I wasn't like able to watch The Lighthouse. So on our way back from Reno, we we took a detour to fucking Sacramento, California, which I had never been to California before. So it was just weird being in a completely weird random place that I've never been to and this random theater and watching like something I was anticipating so hard, like The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
And like even after The Lighthouse was over, I was so tired from driving and like delirious that it just didn't even like process. Like after I watched the movie, I was like, okay, time to drive back to fucking Southern Oregon. So
Jesus,
like, yeah.
that's far. Oh my God.
Yeah, so that
Wow.
was such a wild experience. But then obviously after it was all said and done, I was like, damn, that was a really good movie, huh?
That's funny.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention that real quick.
No, yeah, that's great. We all have weird lighthouse experiences, I guess.
Yeah.
Whose turn was it?
I don't even
Is it-
remember.
I was
Yeah, I don't
Lucas.
either.
Yeah, that's
Is it
you.
me?
Yeah, it's you.
All right, since no one else has done it, I guess I'll talk about Top Gun Maverick now.
Wow.
Oh.
So yeah, someone had to do
I'm
it.
sensing a real theme in my theater experiences, and I swear this is tailored to the theater experiences.
No,
more
it's
than
good.
anything.
Yeah, it's good.
This just goes hand in hand with I would put a hand in hand with the new Avatar movie in terms of it really just pushes the barrier in terms of the technology I've seen used like to shoot a movie, just the things that they did in the air to shoot this and the amount of training and time and coordination that went into the actors, you know, being in the shots for certain things and like the G-force stuff that they went through. I don't know, it all shows up on screen for me and it just is, I don't know, it's really triumphant to watch. Like really a movie that made me think a lot about the process of making a movie and what we get out of doing it over and over and over again like that.
Absolutely. Yep. Look,
And-
sorry, keep going.
I was going to say it's incredible that the same person who directed that directed Spiderhead as well.
Fucking Spiderhead. No, yeah, someone had to bring up Top Gun Maverick, you know, like it's been talked about to death. So all I'll say is I agree that like the aerial stuff is just out of this world, and I'm glad that people were able to see it in IMAX and that it was Tom Cruise was able to release it. So yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, people have said that a million times, so that's all I'll
Yep,
say.
covered.
I saw it
Covered it.
I saw it on my computer monitor.
Oh,
Is it good on the computer monitor?
It was good actually. I'm not in love with the movie like everybody else is, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
That
I'm
makes
not
sense.
either. Yeah, I think it's a great film. It's just not. I don't think it's as good as other people have said it is, but
I mean, I think the action in the movie is really,
of
really good.
course, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
Totally.
like, everything else in terms of characters and story, like I'm not really huge on all that in the movie, but in terms of like the action and the sequences, I think it's
yeah.
undeniable that it's really great. I just wouldn't put it up there as because I mean there's people that say it's like, oh, it's like one of the best action movies we've had like in the last 20 years. I'm like, it's a really great action movie. Like we just talked about the action, but if we're talking about like overall as like a great film that's also like an action movie, I don't know, man. It still doesn't compare to something like Mad Max Fury Road or something for me.
No, but I don't think what
No.
Lucas was saying is valid though, because it's seeing that in IMAX and Dolby. It's kind of like what that whole setup of giant spectacle blockbuster presentation was made for. So
That's true.
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
kind of if none of us mentioned Top Gun Maverick, it'd be kind of ridiculous. So thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
It's a
I
great
took the
movie.
bullet. Yeah, I'm
On
I'm
the
courageous for
highest
that
the
one.
highest grossing movie of the year. I'm glad you were yeah. No,
On
I think the movie's really good. I don't want to shit talk it. I think it's really good.
No, it is a movie that I think even the people who wrote it and directed it know what the plot is. Like they know what the level of sophistication is with everything
Right.
else.
Yeah,
So yeah, I wouldn't defend that part either. But yeah.
for sure. I had a blast too. I had a blast seeing that in theaters, and there were a lot of like celebrities at the screening I was at, so
Oh wow.
it was pretty wild.
I should have watched that movie in like 4DX. Like if I would have
The
watched it in
moving like
4D,
chairs
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
If I'd have watched it in 4D, like in IMAX theater or something like that, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
No, yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Eric's turn. I was about to say Carlos.
All right. So this movie, well, it didn't come out like it wasn't released this year, but it was one of the movies that AMC just like randomly put out again, like, hey, here's this like semi-classic movie. No, I think it definitely is a classic at this point. It's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I've never seen this movie prior to when I just saw it this year. And
Oh, that's dope.
I saw it with Perry again. And man, like what a fucking viewing experience because like um this movie is just a masterpiece. Like I think it's pretty like almost everybody feels that way. And not only that, not to harp on it, but I went through a pretty intense breakup. So that movie just really,
Yeah.
really intensified like the experience for me. And like after the movie was done, I just like I couldn't even speak. I was just fucking speechless, like overran with emotions. And I just think it's really cool to experience like a movie of that magnitude for the first time, like in a theater. Um, so yeah, that was a really great experience. Just love that movie so much.
Same here. I'm jealous you were able to see it for the first time on the big screen because that movie's just intensely gorgeous in my opinion.
Yeah, and
Every
really dreamy
yeah.
amazingly edited and shot. Yeah.
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 I'm a huge fan of that movie. Uh
Oh yeah, I don't have too much more to add after that. It's just
I thought more people would chime in about it because it's such a well beloved film. Do you
No,
guys
I, no,
go
I mean
ahead?
I love them. That was one of my early like entry level art house movies. Like I saw it back before I even really knew what an art movie was. I just knew that it was really unique and interesting. And obviously, like as I grew up, I watched it like 3 or 4 more times. And yeah, I mean it's amazing. I mean the freaking like presentation of that movie is just like on a whole other level.
Yeah.
The way it just like transitions from scene to scene in this really like dreamlike world is very, very impressive. I would love to see that in theaters.
Yeah, me too. And I think seeing that after a breakup is adds another level of
oh my god,
enjoyment.
yeah.
I can't imagine.
It was a
So
pretty bad breakup. So yeah, I it definitely hit me like a ton of
uh
bricks. Yeah.
I think
Uh,
movies like sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, but those movies can be like coping mechanisms though, which is great. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I was just gonna say I saw this movie before ever having gone through a breakup, and now having been through one before, I will never be watching this movie again. It's a great movie
Yeah.
though.
I'm the same way. I saw the movie and I was like 12 and I didn't know shit about relationships or anything. So, but as you get older though, the movie becomes like just super meaningful though, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
So, do you guys I mean real quick, do you guys like Charlie Kaufman or do you guys have any Charlie
I
Kaufman takes?
I love Charlie Kaufman. I pretty much anything he's involved with. I this is a hot take. I think no, this is absolutely a hot take. I like. I'm thinking of ending things more than Synecdoche.
Wow.
Honestly, I don't. I'm not
I,
necessarily saying it's better. I just like it more.
no, I like that take a lot. And I'm a huge fan of both those movies, so
I'm not a
especially
fan of I'm thinking of many things. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
negative Nancy
I
introduction.
know. You're right. I
I'm
am.
fucking with you.
Sometimes.
No, I think partly because that movie came out during quarantine and had kind of its themes on alienation and
Mm.
depression were just super amplified at the time. And I haven't come back to that movie since because it was a really visceral experience the first time. But I'm with you. I love that film. One of the best of 2020,
I
in my
think my
opinion.
favorite, like, I mean, I still really like Charlie Kaufman a lot, though. Like, regardless, even if I'm not huge on the movie, I think he's a really talented, like, filmmaker and screenwriter. Um, Probably my
Adaptation is
favorite.
so good.
I was just, dude,
Masterpiece.
you
Yeah,
you took the words right out of my mouth, dude. Adaptation is my favorite. I mean, it's not directed by Charlie Kaufman, but that's my favorite
yeah,
Charlie Kaufman screenplay. In my like, that movie is just like that. That to me, that movie got me on a real emotional level.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like it's just like very well written. Like it tackles the whole like meta concept so incredibly well. The
for
performance by
sure.
Nick Cage is just like really great from start to
Mhm.
finish. Yeah, I fucking love Adaptation. That's one of my. I think that's. I would probably put that like in my top 20 favorite films of all time. Actually, Adaptation
Wow.
is really really great. Um,
Oh
Being
yeah.
John Malkovich is probably my favorite like Kaufman directed films.
It's also directed by Spike
Oh, that's
Jones.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
right.
Spike
Shit.
Jones. He did Synecdoche and then he did
Anomalisa.
Anomalisa. Yeah, yeah.
Annabelle is really great too.
I love everything he's directed. Yeah.
My favorite, damn, it's crazy though, because my favorite Kaufman material is directed by Spike Jones. Then,
No, it's fair
but
though. I think that's one of his best
yeah,
writing pieces of writing he's ever done.
yeah.
So
So, Synecdoche, New York is pretty fucking good though. It's been a long time since I've seen it though.
that's a hard movie to rewatch just because it's
It's
very
very
upsetting.
dense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very dense. It's very upsetting. A lot of people say it's like a horror movie disguised as like a drama. Or did I say that backwards? I don't know. But it's a lot of people refer to it as a horror movie. So I fucking love that movie though. Um, all right, so I'll wrap this up. I'll go quickly because I know we're running short on time here. Um, I have two really quick ones for my last ones, and I'll be quick. The first one I'll talk about is my experience of seeing The Batman. And I like
Yes.
I I like the film a lot. I don't know if I love it as much as you, Lucas, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because Robert Pattinson actually showed up at our screening and introduced the movie, like full
Oh my
surprise.
God.
And
Oh
Wow.
my god, dude.
I had a friend visiting from out of town, and I was like, "Hey, let's go see the Batman. It'll be fun." He's like, "All right." And then just the fact that my friend got to see Robert Pattinson like in person, I was like, "Man, you really experienced LA to its fullest potential. You just saw Rob Pattinson show up, and the movie's great, obviously, but it was like I had to mention that I saw Robert Pattinson and high fived him on his way out.
That's so cool.
That
Yeah,
is
that's awesome.
badass.
So it definitely heightened that experience. And the last one I'll bring up, it's just another revival screening I saw at the New Beverly Cinema, which is Quentin Tarantino's theater that he owns here in LA. They play a lot of great like exploitation stuff and old art house movies. And I saw Hausu on the big screen, which is something I always wanted to do, and I had fun.
That's
and that's
awesome.
and that's about it. Like that's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it was like Eric was saying, it's a bucket list thing. So to see Hauzu on the big screen fucking ruled, and just shove popcorn in your mouth, and me and my roommate saw it, and like just went outside and smoked cigarettes and talked about it. It's just, that's why I love seeing old movies that I love, and just seeing other people experience it for the first time. So I love Hauzu. Who
Me
doesn't?
too. I fucking adore it.
Carlos, I swear, if you're gonna be that movie fucking sucks.
No, I mean, I don't love it as much as you guys, but it is a pretty good
That's
movie.
okay.
Yeah.
Just fucking with you.
It's weird because like lately, like on my channel, people have been saying like, "Oh, I just love everything that I watch," but like when you really get to know me, I come off more negative, I guess.
The
I don't
truth
know.
comes out on the podcast.
Yeah.
No, you're usually very positive.
Yeah, I am actually.
Yeah, go for it,
Yeah.
man. Your final pick.
Okay. All right. I'd probably say if I had to pick one last one, I'd probably go shit. Honestly, I'd probably go with Marcel the Shell with Shoes on.
Nice.
Because the audience was great. It was actually pretty packed, and the audience was great. They were all like reacting very well to the movie. It's a very wholesome experience, and you could tell that everybody was very on board with what the film was going for. And I mean, there was children in the audience, and they seemed to really like it. They were reacting well to it, and they weren't like disrespectful either. Like, the audience was great. The film was great. And it's a very moving film that I think everybody was affected by the end of it. And it was really cool to see like everybody just come together and watch like just such a wholesome movie, and everybody just be on board with what it's going for and just really get a lot out of it. So yeah,
Nice.
I think that for me, that was a really great theater experience.
Hell yeah. I've ashamedly not seen Marcel yet. And it's
Oh
on
my
so
God.
good. It's so
It's
good.
great.
it is on my top of my list on catch up movies. So yeah, it's so up my alley too. I'm a fucking idiot for not seeing it on the big screen because it is so gorgeous looking. So
It is.
and I love Jenny Slate. I'm a big fan of her. She's
Oh,
hilarious.
she's great, dude. I love her.
She's so funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Whoever's I keep forgetting the order. Lucas.
I think it's Lucas.
me,
Yeah.
because the order on
Um,
my Zoom is like Eric's after Carlos. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
so go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, so really quick I'll go with Nope. Another obvious one, but I personally have been waiting for this is a weird thing with me is I love UFO movies, but I don't like any of the movies. I just love watching them and then being disappointed because they don't do it for me and then seeking more out and repeating the cycle over and over again. So I'll just bring up one other movie that I didn't see in theaters, which is called Something in the Dirt. So that's cheating, but Nope
Oh,
is
yeah.
kind of a piece with that, where they're both these movies that are very visually oriented and very much deliver on that, but they're really more about people seeking something and really seeking an experience out of something that they can't tangibly grasp onto in a way that I really identify with just as a movie watcher. Like that's an experience I often feel. And I don't know, I really just thought Nope worked on a number of different levels. I think it's the best Jordan Peele movie so far.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just really
I
loved it.
agree. I 100% agree with that.
Me too.
I don't
It's
know if I
he's
do.
just incredible.
I think all three of his movies you could validly say is his best, but for me personally, it would be Nope. And seeing that movie on the big screen also was just God. It was a treat. I don't know if you guys saw it in IMAX, but seeing it in IMAX, like the scope of that movie really, really it felt like you're watching an old 70s sci-fi movie in the theater. So that's pretty great.
I will say, just for the record, the monkey looks kind of bad. The monkey is not great in Nope.
The
effects
CG
are a
I can
little
see
rough.
that.
The CG's a little rough, yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, 5 stars.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites of the year. Yeah, Eric, go ahead. Close us out.
All right. So I'm not gonna talk about this one. I just want to honorably mention Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
That's my favorite of the year. And I had a great experience, but it's not like anything too unique as far as like movie theater experiences go. The one I actually want to talk about is another movie that wasn't released this year. Most of my most memorable experiences have been non 2022 releases, but it's Inland Empire by David Lynch.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I saw this movie again. I saw it with Perry. And just the amount of dread knowing that I have 3 hours to spend with this fucking nightmare of a film. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I love the film. I think it's incredible, but like that movie is like the second scariest film I've ever seen. Like that movie is fucking a fever dream. And like those intense fucking like jump scares, like I was
Yeah.
dreading them the whole fucking movie. And then when they did come, like it definitely didn't disappoint. So just yeah, really surreal experience if I had to give it a word. And I don't know if anybody else here got to see the theatrical release of Inland Empire, like the re-release, but it was
No.
incredible.
I wish I had because I'm a massive Lynch fan. I'm a massive fan of that movie. But thankfully we're having a Criterion release pretty soon, so where people
Yeah,
are able to experience that film. And
Yeah.
I agree 100%. It's a fever dream and a nightmare fueled experience through and through. So I can imagine seeing it on the big screen to be quite upsetting, but also just so rewarding at the same time.
it's the only
Uh,
David Lynch film I've seen in theaters, and it's his most inaccessible, insane film, in my opinion.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed out on like every single awesome classic film screening this year. I didn't go to a single classic film screening, which is odd. Like every year I usually attend at least 3 or 4. This year I just didn't. It was probably just because I was caught up with a bunch of shit or something.
That
But
happens. Yeah.
yeah, you get busy with the channel and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm gonna make that like a New Year's resolution or something to catch more of these classic revival films.
All right, so let's talk about movies that we're looking forward to seeing in 2023. There's quite a few on my list. I don't know about you guys.
I surprisingly have a lot,
I do as well.
at least more than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just mention ones that we already talked about. We talked about Infinity Pool, the Brandon Cronenberg movie, which is kind of a niche film, but I'm really looking forward to it. But probably my number one most anticipated for next year is Killers of the Flower Moon, which is the Martin
Mhm.
Scorsese directed film, and I'm a massive fan of the novel that movie is being adapted by.
Oh,
So
nice.
and it's Scorsese teaming up with De Niro, DiCaprio, and Jesse Plemons. So I mean, how could you not be psyched for that? So that's
Yeah,
probably my number one. Um, yeah, if
nice.
you guys could just bring up any, just we can keep going back and forth.
I mean, if I had to pick a number one that I'm most excited for, I mean, it's really hard to be honest with you. There's a lot of shit I'm looking forward to.
Me too.
I think Dune Part Two would be an obvious one for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Apparently, a lot of people weren't in love with Dune Part One, but I really, really love Dune Part One a lot. So it's kind of like, needless to say, I'm really, really looking forward to Part Two. I'm really hoping that it really like delivers, so that way people can go back and appreciate the first part, because that's like one of the biggest complaints I hear about Part One is that like, oh, it's not complete. So like maybe when Part Two comes out, people can appreciate it like as a whole. But yeah, that's all I'll say. Right? If
Absolutely.
anybody else wants to go, y'all can go.
I have a if I were to give my most anticipated, it's without a doubt the film title and by Yorgos Lanthimos.
Oh yeah.
It has
Oh yeah.
Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, and I think Willem Dafoe. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm wrong on
I
that.
think he has two movies coming out next year, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
it's
Yeah.
coming out with Poor Things too. I'm looking out for Poor
That's
Things.
insane. Yeah. I can't wait for
Yeah,
both of them. Yeah.
He's one of my favorite filmmakers working today, hands down, and I just
Mhm.
love him so much. I can't wait.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Lucas, how about you?
Um, so my most anticipated that hasn't been mentioned is the new Andre Overdahl movie, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which
Hmm.
is probably the I would say the least anticipated of the Dracula movies that's coming out
What
next
the
year. It's the
fuck?
third one.
What are
It's
you
an
talking about?
adaptation. You guys don't know there's 3 Dracula movies coming out next year?
No.
No.
We got okay.
I
I'll just
love
put
this
all of
though.
these
What
as my list. Um, there's one I can't remember the names. There's one starring Nicolas Cage where it's
Oh,
told from the
okay.
perspective of his assistant.
I know what you're talking about now. Okay, okay.
That
And
sounds
then
dope.
yeah, no, that one's gonna be great. And then there's The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which is an adaptation of the Captain's Log chapter, if you guys have read the original novel.
Okay.
It's basically the story of what happens to the crew that ships him from
Right.
Transylvania to America. And I'm very excited for that one. And then the third one, I could be getting, is the third one not Dracula, it's Nosferatu? Is
This
that
is
what I'm
Nosferatu,
conflating?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's Robert Eggers' movie. Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
Eggers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Is
So-
it actually coming out though?
Yeah, it's
I'm not
moving
sure
forward.
about that one. They're
It's-
definitely making it.
Okay,
I don't-
that's insane. That's awesome.
So these aren't like connected to each other narratively.
No, they're just
They're just coming
they're
out.
just 3 separate Dracula adaptations
Okay.
all coming out.
I thought it was a trilogy that you were like, it's coming out
No,
next
no,
year.
no.
Like, holy shit.
No, I mean it's an unofficial trilogy.
That's amazing though.
It's fresh IP.
Who's directing the Nick Cage one? I know it was something cool. It's like,
Um, I was trying to look it up. I can't. Hold on.
why are you looking
It's called
up?
Renfield.
Okay. While you look it up, I'll go to my next one.
Yeah.
Asteroid City, I'm really looking forward
Mhm.
to that. The new Wes Anderson film, like all his films, the cast is absolutely phenomenal, and I can't wait for that movie. And what else do I got here? Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's film, has a lot of hype around it right now. I know they're playing their trailer during Avatar 2, so that's a big one, and that's pretty much all I have. That I want to bring up. You guys can go ahead.
Yeah. If you want, I'm just gonna go down the list
Yeah,
of
that's
everything
what
I
was
have.
doing. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So one thing that's very high up there, because this is when I had a battle with like tied for number one, but like the new Ari Aster film, Beau is Afraid. It was
Okay.
called Disappointment Boulevard, but he changed it to Beau is Afraid. Either way, like I'm very much looking forward to that. Apparently the movie is gonna be very bizarre, and I'm all here for it. I mean it's got Joaquin Phoenix too, like come on, dude. Yeah, then we have Poor Things, as we mentioned, the Yorgos Lanthimos film, Killers on the Flower Moon, Scorsese. And for me, I'm actually highly looking forward to Knock at the Cabin from M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
You never know. Like, I mean, he even in like even with a film like Old, there's at least bits of like really great shit in Old. It's just like as a whole. it's just like for me. Well, to be fair, I'm like a Shyamalan apologist. Honestly,
Oh no,
like,
I love Old. I have the exact opposite take. I'm like, yeah, you could take away a few things, but it's pretty great.
Oh well, shit, that's awesome. I have no
I love
problem with you
Old,
loving
yeah.
it at all. That's awesome.
Old.
that
I'm
was,
I'm a huge Old fan too.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
That's also fair.
yeah. I remember when I went to go see that in theaters, and I was like the only one like giving it any credit almost. but yeah. So Knock at the Cabin. Looking forward to that. There's also a film called Cut Block that's co-directed by Trey Edward Schultz and somebody else.
Oh yeah.
It's like I don't really know much
Director.
about it.
He directed Waves and Creature.
Yeah.
It comes at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it except I think it's about like timbermen, like lumberjack men or something. I don't know, but it sounds
Yeah.
interesting. There's a film called Roosevelt. It's a biopic on Roosevelt starring Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Martin Scorsese. It's supposed to come out next year. So
What?
Scorsese has 2 movies coming out. I
There's
learned
2
this.
movies coming out next year.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
Wait,
Yeah,
what? I've never heard of this.
Yeah, if you want, you gotta
He
look it up.
he made it his secret, and he's just gonna release both
Yeah,
in the same year. That's
Yeah.
awesome, though.
yeah. I didn't know about this until I like Googled it, but
Wow.
yeah. And then you have, in terms of ones that like nobody has said yet, you have this movie called Bottoms that's directed by I can't remember her name, but she directed Shiva Baby.
Yeah.
And it also has Rachel Sennott in it. So I'm highly looking forward to
Wow.
that. And so another one that I'm highly looking forward to, hopefully it comes out next year, is a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie that's also starring one of it's starring Leonardo DiCaprio, but apparently he's in talks to be in it. So there's that.
What is Leo's just working with the best directors next year?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going on?
And then you have, I don't know if anybody's gonna be excited for this one, but Michael Sarnowski, the director of Pig,
Wow.
he's gonna be directing A Quiet Place prequel.
I saw that, yeah.
Oh shit.
So, I mean, I really like the first Quiet Place. I actually do like the second one too. I know a lot of people don't, but I do like the second Quiet Place. I'm
good.
not in love with it, but I think it's a decent movie.
It's a good movie, yeah.
Awesome. So that's coming out, and then you have a Francis Ford Coppola movie coming out
Fuck yeah.
called
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis, yeah.
Yeah, and it has starring Aubrey Plaza, I think.
Is it really?
It's
Yeah.
Adam Driver, Aubrey Plaza, and like
Yeah,
Shia LaBeouf. It's got a wild cast.
That's great.
yeah. So that's all I had, but I mean, it's next year. Just on the surface, looks like it's going to be pretty crazy.
Lucas, I have to add, there's something
What?
you sent me. You sent me something yesterday that the director of Minari is going to direct a sequel to Twister.
Oh
Is that
yeah,
right?
he's
Fuck.
yeah.
Is that right? That made me
I have to
laugh
pull
for
that
like
up.
20 minutes, dude.
I'm so excited about that.
That's the most whack shit ever.
It's
But
gonna be called Twisters.
Minari is I love Minari so much. It's just a
Well-
weird fucking turn.
I know.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. I can't wait. There's nothing better. You know, speaking of the new Luca Guadagnino movie, it's like a tennis movie that he's
Yeah.
making.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a sports comedy with what's her name? from
Zendaya.
Dune. Zendaya, yeah.
There's nothing. This is part of what's so great about Luca. Like, there's nothing better than a director just pivoting hard. You know what I mean? Like Minari
Sure.
to Twisters, even though it's the same region, that's a hard pivot. Like, that's gonna be great.
That's a way bigger leap than Luca doing a sports movie though.
Well, he just made a cannibal movie, so I don't know.
He made Suspiria though before, but like this is
True.
literally this guy made like like an Ozu type family movie, and now he's making a disaster movie. It's
Maybe
pretty.
they'll
It's
get Ozu type family disaster movie.
they're just trying to protect. It's the same family just trying to protect their crops from a twister.
Yeah. It was storming pretty hard at Benari.
Stephen Yun is just like fucking burning down his crop fields again. Fuck.
This is gonna be number one on all of our lists next year. I can feel it.
I'm feeling it too already.
It's mostly the fucking the headline that I just couldn't stop laughing at. That's so good. Anyway, anyone else want to bring up movies?
I can go down the line like Carlos did.
Yeah, go ahead.
So some of the ones that we haven't mentioned, I'm unironically really excited for Barbie. My girl.
I was waiting for Carlos to bring it up so we can make a joke.
Yeah. I'm indifferent to it, so I'm not really.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited. I was going to bring that up, but I didn't want to cause any stir at the end of the podcast.
We got
That might be my number, like top 5 of next year, but
yeah. We got the 2001: A Space Odyssey
2001,
references.
yeah.
In Barbie. That looks great.
That is pretty lit, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Watch it. It's gonna fucking blow you away, Carlo. It's gonna be like your number
It's possible.
one of next year.
It's fucking possible, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
No, I'm sorry. I'm excited for John Wick 4. Like in full honesty.
Yeah,
Nice.
Big John Wick fan.
I am as well.
Maxine, the third
Oh yeah,
the third in the trilogy with Mia Goth and Ty West. Very excited for that.
me
I
too.
love X and Pearl. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Shit.
I love the first one.
It's one of the best superhero movies ever. The first one, so
I agree.
God, yeah, I can't wait.
Carlos needs to watch the first one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Really, I feel like everyone saw that movie at the
I
time.
know.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah,
And Asteroid City. I don't know if you brought that up already.
Yeah, Jake
yeah,
did.
I did briefly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
No,
Yeah, that's it.
I can't wait for that too. Lucas, you're what? Are you gonna bring up like Do you have any more, or was that just the
I don't
weird
have a
ass?
list. I don't have a list. I have two more. One is I only recently found out Ben Wheatley is directing Meg
Yeah,
2,
yeah.
The Trench. So
That's
I'm hyped for that now. Any Ben Wheatley movie, I'll get hyped for.
fucking A.
And then I just want to shout out. There's a new Transformers movie in theaters. I don't want anyone to forget that that's happening next year.
My
Rise of the
God.
Beasts, I believe.
Rise of the Beasts.
Go see that opening night, please. We got to support
Fuck,
those. So
And 3D.
we just lost so many people with that. No, I approve of that. That was great. I have a few more that I'll just read off real quick. Showing Up is a Kelly Reichardt movie, who's my favorite
Oh yes.
Yeah.
modern director, and they just dropped a trailer and it looks very good. And I hear every movie she makes is good, so I'm very excited for that. There's a new Mission Impossible. We mentioned Tom Cruise coming out next year, and that's highly anticipated for me. I love the last one. Kind of a weird pick, but Jesse Eisenberg directed a movie that looks like it could be absolutely abysmal, but it's got great actors in it, like Julianne Moore is in it, so I'm kind of intrigued by it. But NA24 is distributing, so that equals a good movie. No, I'm just kidding, but
AKA Kino.
Kino Lord A24. I'm sure there's so many that we forgot about, but those were like the 10 that came to mind. So rest assured, Barbie will win Best Picture in 2020.
Oh yeah, I'm rooting for it.
The Kubrick homage. All right. To wrap this up, I prepared a little game for these guys. Basically, how it's going to work is I pulled 4 random reviews off Letterboxd for 2022 releases, and they are very vague. And basically, I just want to see if these guys can guess the movie. So I will read the review, and if you have an idea, just honestly just shout it out. And I think that's the best way to go about this. So the first review, I'll credit the person as well. The first review is from a guy named Shane McAvoy. And the review is: conservative destroys social justice warrior college student, 4.5 stars.
Oh, Tar.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yes.
That's like that
That's
review
good.
has 2,000 likes, and that's all he just named a scene in the movie.
I did a whole scene analysis on that, so that was really easy.
Yeah, that was a good video. Everyone check that out.
Oh, thank you.
It's a great one. Next one is 1 second. So this comes from a girl named Lily, and she said her review of this film: that one unemployed friend at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, colon.
What was the last thing you said?
Colon, like she's like,
oh, colon.
You put a colon,
Okay.
so it's like this movie. That one unemployed friend at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
What the fuck?
I have no clue.
Honestly, think really literally about the characters in it. That unemployed friend on 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Are you looking at Letterboxd, Carlos? Because it might show up.
No, I'm looking at movies I saw this year and see if I can put it together.
No,
Yeah, kind of same here, honestly.
No, go ahead. Once you hear it, it's
unemployed friend at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
I like those memes, but I'm trying to.
What? Cha-cha? I don't know.
Not that literally. I'll give you a hint. It's like the main character is very like lost in limbo, and he is kind of, it's a he. He's kind of like unaware that his life has no purpose.
Banshees?
It's not Banshees, is it?
Yeah, it's Banshees.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I love how you
sense.
said shot real smooth first. That's actually a better review for that. Okay. Okay, this one's going to be harder.
Okay.
This one comes from Hannah Beasley. Her review: My favorite thing about the movie is that it feels like a movie. It feels like a real, like, go
Don't
to the
worry.
theater.
Don't worry,
Don't
darling.
worry, darling.
Yeah, that one for sure.
You guys knew that immediately.
Yeah.
That's
One of
a
the best
classic.
quotes of the year.
That's amazing. The second one I was
Feels
gonna
like a movie. Like go to the theater, film. Movie.
Oh
It's
shit.
gold.
The next one was that I was gonna do for Don't Worry, Darling. It was like the movie about the dangers of letting men have and listen to podcasts. But that would also be that would have been super obvious. All right.
Meta.
The next one, this is actually a more serious one-liner, but this comes from Crimson. I buried my affection in deep ocean. Come find me. I buried my affection in deep ocean. Come find me.
It's like a riddle.
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
Think ocean. I'll give you that hint.
It's not Avatar,
Decision
is
to
it?
leave.
Yes, decision to leave.
Okay.
That's a lot.
I just like Avatar would have been
Oh.
fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I get the joke if it's Avatar.
That would have been great though. All right. The next one comes from Bill Griff.
Yes.
Shout out to
Jesus.
Bill Griff.
Love you, Bill.
He
Me
said
too.
calling someone upper class middle class is justifiable for a leg wound. Calling someone
Bodies.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay. Last one. This one is kind of ridiculous, but this comes from David Sims. Nom nom. Nom
menu.
nom. Fuck. I thought you were gonna
I was
I
gonna
thought
say
you-
Triangle of Sadness.
I thought you were gonna say that or bones and all.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're eating
Mm.
people. Fuck. All right, that was the last one.
That was fun.
I got it really quick. Okay.
Yeah, it was immediately the menu.
You got one.
Fuck. Anyway,
That was fun as hell.
That was
Yeah,
so
man.
fun.
yeah, man. All right, I think that's about it. That was a really fun podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I hope you enjoyed
No problem.
talking
Of
about
course.
theater and Carlos's little therapy session about the witch.
Oh god. I feel really bad going on a tangent
No,
about
that was great.
No.
That was amazing. Like honestly,
Beautiful.
you should clip that part of the podcast and like put it on your channel as like
I probably
Yeah, you should do a video on
Yeah, it's
that.
a good idea,
Yeah.
actually.
I'll send you the clip and be like, you could just throw it on your like the main thumbnail. Like here's
All right,
why
fuck it.
the fucking witch, yeah. Yeah, like I said, look out for the Santa Claus episode that will probably drop around Christmas. I don't know if I might drop this before or after the holidays. I don't know, but this will also be on Carlos's channel, so look out for it on the Misfit Pond channel. Anything you want to plug, Carlos? I know you always plug your stuff.
I mean, feel free to join my Discord through Patreon, $5 a month. We have movie nights all the time. We talk all the time about film and other shit that is inappropriate, but it's still fun.
What a great incentive.
Yeah. I mean, there's people from all over the world in this chat, so it's a whole lot of fun. Other than that, I mean, check out stuff on my channel. I recently did reviews for Holy Spider, Skin and Marink, Lady Snowblood. I have a Tar scene analysis, so that's about it. Join Patreon and join the Discord and watch some of my content. That's it. I also have a short film called Solita. If you want to check it out, give me some feedback. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, check out the channel, and Lady Snowblood rules. So I'm glad you reviewed
Yeah.
that one. That's a great one.
That movie's awesome.
Eric and Lucas, anything you got? Any parting words you want to say?
I can tell people to follow my Instagram if that's okay.
Yeah, man.
It's
Plug anything
at-
you want.
at spooky_Blaire BLAIRE. I'm
Follow.
pretty active on Instagram, so feel free.
Follow Spooky Blaire on Instagram. Lucas, do you want to plug like your Tumblr, anything like that?
Your Tumblr?
I guess people could follow me on Letterboxd at LNABER. Other than that, not really. see Rise of the Beasts in 2023 in theaters.
You're an ambassador for Michael Bay's marketing team, aren't you? You're just
It's
going around
micro marketing. It's a thing. It works.
From this podcast alone, that movie's going to generate like $2 million more for the.
Hell yeah.
No doubt.
Happy to do it. But thank you so much for having me.
No worries, dude. I always
Same
love
here.
having.
Yeah,
I love
thank you
having
so
all
much.
of you.
Appreciate it.
You guys were all so great. I love having you on. Yeah, guys, thank you guys for another year of the Cinebums. I appreciate it. I love doing this. And it's my first year of hosting by myself. Usually I was a guest, or usually I just edit the videos. So it's good to be like bring up like different friends who love film on. It's just been a blast. So I will continue to do it in 2023. So everyone have a great Christmas and New Year and all that good stuff. And see Avatar 2, The Way of Water, when it comes out in films, because James Cameron needs the money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.